A new Italian article about raids, homesteads, and the new expansion overall. I don't know what it says because I haven't read it, so we're all gonna go here and look it up by ourselves. Okay, so subscribe to everyone, welcome to this, and let's get into it. It just happened a few hours ago. It's very early, it's like 10 a.m. for EST. So if you're Pacific, you probably are not gonna see this until sometime. If you're probably only the Europeans know about this. So it's in Italian, so I just translated it to English. There might be some translation errors, but I'm sure everything will be fine. Interview with ArenaNet. After the retrospective on Secrets of the Obscure and the announcement at the beginning of June of Janthir Wilds, the 5th expansion of Guild Wars 2 due to August 20th, enthusiasm has been rekindled on the title community. There's a lot of curiosity on the arrival of various content in the new story, a raid, and the new possibility of using the spear on the ground. That's true, we have had the beta sending today. It's been pretty fun, even though it has some issues. But above all, for introduction of Homestead, the new housing system has been described by our colleagues in PC Gamer. We did see those articles, we did read them as well. Given the approach to the new expansion in the recent days, we had the pleasure of asking ArenaNet some questions, exclusively in Italy, about the new cycle of annual expansions. The experience we had in Soto and the characteristics of Janthir Wilds are already available for pre-sale on our official site. Although you can read the interview first on the original language and then translate it to Italian. Oh, it just translated already. Okay, well, forget it. I'll just read it. I just translated the whole article for no reason. Okay, well, it was good to get that little thing that was in Italian in English, though. It's very nice. The annual development of expansions represent a major change from the past, and we think it has been a big challenge for the whole of Arena team that, despite mistakes described in Soto perspective, has achieved good results. Completely linked war system and multi-year expansions. What are the positives that you think? You left behind? Andrew Gray, design lead. I would say the biggest things we lost was experience. We have years of experience making Living War season and our old multi-year expansion model. So when we set to adjust to the new annual expansion model, we need to relearn a lot of things like reasonable scope, complexity of story, and some of the more challenging logistics like production plans and BO pipelines. Luckily, we learned a lot on Soto that we have already applied to Janthir Wilds, so we're already feeling back in the groove of things. That is actually a good point, and they did talk about this in the retrospective. And it's nice that they actually put that in the response. They know, like, yeah, we fucked up with the story, right? And the scope of the story. So we're fixing this. We have, by the experience that we got on this year with Soto, where it's not gonna happen again. It's a nice response. In Soto, we saw the return to many ancient races, and with Janthir Wilds, we'll see Titans again. This has renewed a strong interest in past events, leading parts of the community to play Guild Wars 1. We'll delve into the events that happened before today's. What is the idea behind choosing to have the world of Guild Wars 1 interact more concretely in Guild Wars 2? Is there a risk of repeating what happened with Soto? A pot too complex for what we can reasonably handle with an annual expansion? Interesting question. That's an interesting question. I would say they probably say no, because Guild Wars 1 is a different game. It actually in some ways probably makes it easier, because if you fuck up something in Guild Wars 2, you can always lead to Guild Wars 1 be like, well, you didn't know that because you didn't play Guild Wars 1. So it's honestly probably makes it easier, but the Wizards played in Guild Wars by quite a long time. Feel like a logical bridge to weave more of those threads from the original game, and possibly even early on that, into Guild Wars 2. And to be fair, the whole Wizards thing was made out of nowhere. Like, yeah, the Wizards Tower did exist, but like, let's be real, guys, we had no information of anything. Like, everything was essentially created again. Just because you had a little footnote where to start doesn't really mean that it actually has content from Guild Wars 1 in Guild Wars 2. That's the inward answer. The development answer is more of us old-timers have been around long enough to have worked in Guild Wars. Some as far back to Prophecies, while others, and it makes me feel really dang old saying this, grew up playing Guild Wars 1. So with the Dragon Cycle arc final complete, there's a lot to start to go back to some original Guild Wars lore. And I think that's fair. Like, Guild Wars 1 lore is pretty chill compared to something like the Dragons, so I don't think it's a bad idea. As to avoid making a plot too complex to reasonably handle, there's a great call out and has been at the forefront of our mind while developing Janthir Wilds. It's challenging to dig into specifics without spoilers, but I know, trust me bro, isn't exactly a satisfying answer. So I will at least say that the bulk of the story is grounded in a regional threat in Janthir rather than a global threat. Very important, something that people have been asking for a lot. Or in the case of Soto, a transplanetary battle. Wait, I mean, I thought they were talking about Janthir Wands. I mean, I don't, yeah, I mean, Soto definitely wasn't a local threat. I mean, a little bit, but it was probably mostly a global threat. Like, if Epic would have won, it probably would have went into Tyrian, do some damage, right? The Creepers got the Azure of Guard, and so did Wretched, the threat level to 11 right off the bat. And now the Azure is focused on preventing the next calamity rather than responding to it. I'm not sure if this is the best answer to like give us like, oh yes, everything's gonna be local instead of global. It almost sounds like they considered Soto as being a local threat, and in some ways it is a little bit, but not really. Like, yeah, I mean, would Epic really have been able to like destroy Tyria? I don't think it was that strong. In some ways, we were trying to save the crypts more than anything. Like the wizards would have just destroyed them, I think. But I don't know. Guild Wars 2, with its incredible art direction 12 years later, is still a pillar of the MMORPG genre. But in other aspects, age is showing. A lot has been done in the years with DirectX and the introduction of many quality of life. There are parts of the game that seem obsolete. What aspects do you think are structuring? And what would you like to work in the future? That is actually a very interesting question. I wonder if this is gonna lead a little bit into some maybe Guild Wars 3 speculation. Or Guild Wars 2.5, you know? We're constantly identifying aspects of the game to enhance with quality of life updates. For instance, we believe we can improve guild hall decorations by making the interface for placing them more intuitive and powerful, allowing players to fully express their creativity. The upgrade to a new version of DirectX has unlocked many possibilities for us. We're exploring those opportunities by prototyping and testing new shadow technology, lighting improvements, and advanced water, to name a few examples. We'll see how Janthir Wilds looks, I think. Because I'm guessing, yeah, Soto... I mean, Soto looked okay, but it didn't have anything impressive. I'm guessing that if anything really shows the potential of the new updates that we've had, is going to be Janthir Wilds, so we're going to have to wait a little bit. These screenshots do look pretty good, though. The convergences introduced by Soto positively surprised the community, reminded us of the famous raids of the past from different MMORPGs, and made for large numbers of participants. Unfortunately, over time in the genre, we saw a tendency to focus on content for fewer and fewer players. I guess they mean like from metas to raids, right? Raids have 10 people, metas have 50, right? I mean, it's an interesting question. Guild Wars 2, on the contrary, continue to believe in them. That is true. What were your reasons for betting on his type of content? Yeah, other MMOs really don't go for anything more than 20 max, and WoW is the only one that honestly does more than 20. And even then, they don't really do a lot, and people don't play with 40 people in raid ever, right? Or like 30 or whatever. It just doesn't happen. Guild Wars is the only one that actually has this kind of content. With the addition of the Titans Convergences, can we hope that we will continue their development like the other endgame content such as Fractal Raids and Strike Missions? With the addition of the Titans Convergences, can we hope that we will continue their development? Yeah, I understand what you mean. If Convergence is going to keep going, I'm guessing they're going to say yes. There's no way they delete the system. We've seen Convergences going forward as a great way to give players an open world experience that mirrors raid content. I kind of agree. They need a bit more work on that, but it's definitely getting there, specifically with the CMs, I think. Obviously, with significant changes to make it appropriate and open world fight. Raids are great, but far fewer people engage with them than open world content for a variety of reasons. We want to make raids for the people who enjoy raiding, so rather than trying to change to raids to attract more of those players, so we see Convergences as a means to let more players experience the story, environment, and an open world version of the raid encounters. But in a 50-person squad or public group rather than a 10-person squad. I would expect us to at least strongly consider adding a 50-person Convergence version of raids when we release raids going forward. Whoa, that is an interesting thing to say. What? Wow. So, okay. So let's bring this on. We have the meta version of the raid. We have this confirmed. All right. We have the normal mode. We have the CM. We have the legendary mode. Right. This is confirmed. 4 difficulties. The fact that they're saying here that we're gonna get, maybe we are considering a convergence version of raids. It sounds like a strike with the boss, essentially, but with 50 people. So a fifth version of the content. Now, is that too much? Maybe. It is different. And I'm not sure if that really would work, because like raid... Well, raid mechanics are so much different than meta mechanics. You can't really have like, hey, you know, bait this little circle or whatever and put it out on a fucking meta, because no one's gonna know. They tried in Jados, it didn't really work out. So I'm really curious what this means. Would it be a good idea? In some ways, I guess if they can do the meta version, they should be able to do the convergence version. But if you have the meta version, why would you do the convergence version? I guess in order to have a like, I guess in some ways you have two, like, you have two types of content in the same way, right? You have like 50-man content and 10-man content. Even if they come from the same encounter, the difficulty setting can go either way, right? Like you could have like meta, which is easy mode for the raids, right? But at the same time, the meta has a difficulty, has a hard mode, right? For the 50-man experience, and then the raid, which is 10-man, has a, you know, more difficulty settings. It's a very interesting thing to say, though. Seeing the Warclaw out of the mist was a big hit, and we're sure it brought a smile to those PvP players who have always feared into Warclaws to redeem it. Thanks to this choice, there will be another way to redeem and use his new abilities. Can you give us more details about the Warclaw's new skills, such as double jump, and tell us why they are so important in the expression of Janthir? There'll be more info coming out on Warclaw in the coming weeks, so I don't want to spoil those reveals too much. But I would say air jump, which is what we're calling it now, so double jumps undersells the mechanic. Makes navigating Janthir feels absolutely great. Air jump, double jump. So I'm guessing what it is gonna be is that you're gonna go like... The Warclaw like usually jumps like this. Goes like beep, beep. It's little hops. I'm guessing what it's gonna be, and double jump would be like beep, beep, right? But I'm guessing what's gonna be instead is gonna be like this. Whoop, whoop. Right, like look at that. And get very, very far away. It's double, right? I'm guessing that's kind of what it's gonna be. Yeah, that's probably what it's gonna be. We already have that with Raptor a little bit, but I think it's just gonna be more vertical. The region is not flat, to say the least. There are many sheer cliffs and valleys that make you think, man, I wish I didn't have to go around the long way. The Warclaw delivers ways to get around the maps that I think players are going to really enjoy. We didn't stop there. We found interesting ways to incorporate the existing Warclaw chain pull, spear throw, and sniff abilities with the content in Janthir. Again, more content just to come on that. So we know that that's probably gonna be like different events that are gonna require your Warclaw chain pull and spear throw and sniff, right? In order to actually go through them. So we're gonna have another sky scale kind of situation here, I think, guys. Now, I think the sky scale, you know, using the fireballs to actually do damage is a bit different because you kind of want to stay in the sky scale a lot of time. Honestly, one big way to like fix the sky scale problem about people FKing would be to just make all those 10 attacks that you have on your fireball just instantly go and then you get out of the sky scale. And I think hopefully this is gonna be the same thing for Warclaws. You're just gonna go in there like a few seconds, get your abilities off, and then leave. I'm hoping at least, but we'll see. Maybe the jump will be similar to the Jadebot vertical glider boost. Yeah, maybe. It's really hard to tell. We're definitely gonna see it very soon, to be honest. Housing has been one of the biggest revelations of Janthir Worlds. The community has been asking for it for years. Is overjoyed because they thought this mode could not be implemented due to some technical limitations. What were the challenges encountered in introducing this new feature? The biggest hurdle was to sit down and to start on a feature that can be ambitious yourself. Wait, let me reread this. So the biggest hurdle when you sit down to start on a feature can often be ambitious yourself. Specifically, one's abilities to overwhelm oneself with everything something could be. That's a good point. I think that has made player housing seem like a non-starter to quiet sometime in many people's eyes, because it's a feature that's going to have a lot of moving parts and can easily blow into something out of scope. Especially on an annual cadence like we are now. That sounds a little bit like they're gonna continue putting some more stuff on it. I'm going to warn you that this is gonna be some possibly boring how the sausage is made details. But when we sat down to do the homesteads, we broke everything down to what we called MVP, minimal viable product, and stretch goals. The MVP is the foundation of the system that even if we weren't able to add anything else to it, we could rationalize it as strong enough benefit to players to be worth shipping. From there, we took everything else, all the niche to haves, quality of life improvements, cute little details, and list them out as stretch goals. And then prioritize those goals based on the cost-benefit ratio, on how will it be to make, versus how much does this benefit the players. With information in mind and the foundation of this system in a solid place, we were able to add nearly all of our stretch goals, and I attribute that to the build-up approach, the design on homesteads that added features incrementally as needed rather than starting with a grand designer that throws everything in the kitchen sink and the feature on day one. Though technically there is kitchen sink. Speaking of the foundation of homesteads, the guildhall decoration system was used as half of the foundation, with the functionality of the homes, resource notes, boards, and of course that many stray cats you have adopted over the years. Yeah, they didn't really mention anything about minis, did they? They probably should have that in. Homestead decorating is a separate crafting discipline that describing, but the decoration options in guildhalls will appear in homesteads over the course of extensions, features, release, and in festivals. We made some really great improvements in the decorating system, and a ton of those exciting features that we'll be sharing more about later this month. But for now, I can say a lot of the wishlist items players are speculating about are, in fact, including in the feature either at launch or in one of the content releases. There's been a lot of talk about new additions to the title in the past years, and one of those was the dual crafting level 500. It is still one on the list. Ascended 500 gel crafting is not on a priority list right now, but we're always evaluating and it's possible we revisit this in the future. I don't really care. I don't know. People have been complaining about this a long time. Like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of nice, but like, I mean, is this really what we want Arena to be focused on? Dual crafting 500? I don't think so. I don't think so. Wait, is that the post? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all we have. Everything else on the bottom is just the Italian version of it. Let me just check, but I think, yeah, no, it's literally the same thing. All right. I mean, it was a good thing. I think, what is the biggest thing that is kind of surprising here? I think I was expecting a bit more information about the raid stuff here. Honestly, I mean, it is kind of, the double jump is kind of fun. It's kind of good. I think the whole convergences might be, you know, the raids might get their convergence version of them is pretty interesting as well. So I think it's an okay article. Not the biggest, most important thing, but let's go through the Reddit posts and see if anyone is saying something interesting. The upgrade for a new version of DirectX has unlocked many possibilities for us. It's an interesting bit. There's quite a lot of improvements that are prodding for the rendering engine. One model will necessarily make it to live. I think it's strong sign that the maintenance mode doomerism is misguided. Yeah, the little investment in the engine tech is not something you do on a game you're on sunsetting. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I know we're all talking about Guild Wars 3 and whatever, but the fact that they're actually looking into making the game look better and so many features that are like, you know, gonna be evergreen and actually features that seems like they put a lot of effort in, like homesteads. I do think it's like, I don't know, the whole Guild Wars 3 thing, you know, it might happen, but it really seems like it's not gonna compete with Guild Wars 2 directly, at least. Whatever it is. I'm really curious to see what niche air jumps feels that Springer and Sky Skill doesn't already. That is a very important point. Like, why wouldn't you not use your Sky Skill? Specifically because also we got Sky Skill on Soto. How is this gonna be better than Sky Skill? Who knows? Maybe it will be so much better than people don't really use the Sky Skill because of how slow it is, unless they're really gonna go very, very high up. Honestly, that is probably what we would want out of Warclaws. We want a mount that is more useful in land than the Sky Skill is in land, or like very hovering a little bit, because the dashes are pretty powerful. They need to be better than those dashes, and I hope that's what we get. The open rate is convergences. I really hope that this is right because Soto convergences were pretty dull in my opinion. They probably hope they get this right. Is that what they said? They didn't say that. They said that they might do that. Let me reread that. I really don't think that's what they said, though. I really don't think that's what they said. It's like, let me just go here. Like, convergence. I didn't. There we go. I would expect us to at least strongly consider adding a 50 version convergence version of raids when we release raids going forward. This doesn't mean that they did it. I think this comment is just not right. But I guess that's all the information we have. Well, still pretty interesting, still pretty good. I'm not sure. I don't think it's like the biggest, most insane article ever, but it's definitely not bad, and I'm happy with it. Some good information on it. We're definitely gonna get more information about. I'm guessing the Warclaws. I don't think we're gonna get more out of the Homestead. They really went completely full balls in last week, so I'm guessing we're gonna get something else this week. Maybe the Warclaw, maybe the raid. We don't know, but we'll see. We'll see definitely. There you go. Thank you for watching, guys. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. Go to my Discord. Go to my subscribe to YouTube. Go to my Ko-fi if you want to support my content, or join membership in YouTube, whatever. And see you guys around. Love you all. Bye bye.